Hey Gemini family, it's Romy. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. This is the December 2020 soul story. We're here already. So if you have a Gemini sun, rising or moon, this is general, but it might well resonate for you. As ever, I would encourage you to check back in through the month, and as the energies continue to unfold, some of the insights and messages will make more sense and have deeper resonance for you moving forward. I do hope you enjoy it. I love to receive your feedback, so do let me know. Thank you for being here, and let's go ahead and get started and see what's coming up for you. Okay, Gemini, let's take a look at this soul story for December. So I'm recording this ahead of the lunar eclipse in your sign on November 30th, but there's no doubt that that will have affected you, or you'll be still feeling the energy of it all the way through December. And so pay close attention to the themes that it's been bringing up for you. Now, December is a month where we're really going to feel the acceleration of energy. There's a tremendously powerful time of ascension and awakening across the collective. And it's really for you going to feel like you're shifting into a new gear. That might come by way of feeling quite overwhelmed, quite wired, quite restless, and almost this sense of overstimulation. So you're going to have to work quite diligently, Gemini, to kind of bring yourself back down to earth, because it's almost going to feel like you want to float away up into the clouds through most of December. But we're opening up your reading with this King of Wands energy. Beautiful fire element, and let's talk about the fact that we're in Sagittarius season, right, which is your 7th house of relationships. So what is taking place this month is really mirroring so much of what's going on with the important connections in your life, but notably within the self as well. Now, so there's this sensation really of December feeling like it's about making up for lost time. So you may feel a sense of urgency to kind of really deal with something, to wrap something up, to kind of address something. And, you know, as a fallout from that, there may really be questions that are coming up in and around what's happening from a commitment perspective. And remember, these relationships may be professional as well as romantic or personal. It's about relationships of significance in your life. Now, the thing we need to understand is that not everything is always as it seems, because as we move through December, we've got this solar eclipse happening, the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius on the 14th of the month. And King of Wands here, you know, is stepping forth as if he is projecting an energy of what you see is what you get. And ultimately, you know, you could look at that and you could kind of observe it and say, all right, I'll accept that. I'm trusting you. I'm kind of taking that answer. I'm taking that perspective. And yet there's something here about needing to dig deeper, because there is so much churn and change, and there are so many sort of twists and turns that are going to take place through this month because of the way that the energy is working and the pace, that I really don't want you to get too caught up in any one specific outcome. I think you're going to feel the sense of urgency to want to lock something down, to tie something in, to kind of have a sense of, you know, feeling more secure by knowing how somebody feels, knowing whether a job is there or not, knowing whether you have a client on board or not, knowing where you're going to be residing, you know, knowing if you're going to see family over the festive season or not. But that is going to lead you into an energy that could be quite disruptive, Gemini, and kind of almost put you in a place of feeling like you're not in control. And really what we want to take from the essence of this King of Wands is that the best approach for you through December is to come at it from a place of really feeling your own centeredness, feeling your own connection, you know. Now, there's an incredible resourcefulness that comes through with that energy of the king. Okay, he wants you to be incredibly visionary, and that's what Sagittarius energy wants to do. It wants to light up those aspects of, you know, how we're philosophizing, you know, life, our new values, how we're educating, you know, in terms of new understanding and awareness. And of course, that dovetails beautifully into this huge time of awakening and ascension, where you really are being invited to step it up and understand that, you know, what satisfies your soul doesn't have to come at a cost, Gemini. And I think that's an important question that you are going to be working with through this month, because what I'm seeing is the opportunity to go beyond limitations or thought forms that have held you back. And yet in doing so, there's a requirement for you to be able to say to yourself, yes, I get to have this and this and this, and it doesn't mean that I have to compromise or say goodbye to that. And of course, eclipse energies do bring powerful endings. They do bring powerful shifts and changes in our life. But sometimes the way in which the energy is working is so that we can really make space for being able to have it all. And yet, if you look at things from a certain perspective or observe it from a place of feeling not in control or disempowered, then you may be tricked into feeling like I'm losing out here. Well, you're not losing out. You know, the Four of Wands is coming in with this indication of like a firmer, more solid foundation being put into place. And really remember, we're working with this very karma, dharma energy with the North and South Node all the way through to 2022. So the themes you have been working with and where you can feel that you are being guided towards are starting to play out very powerfully in December. Now let's look at what else is happening. Saturn is finally moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. This is going to be a positive movement for you because we finally start to wrap up that time of working through that difficult, deep energy of the 8th house into the 9th house of expansion, you know, of going beyond what you thought possible, of really beginning new adventures and kind of just expanding your repertoire of, you know, connecting more with people, building up that sense of real self-sufficiency and dependence on what you've gained and what you've learned and how that wisdom has changed you. You know, then we have Jupiter moving into Aquarius, that planet of expansion, of, you know, positivity, opportunity. And so combined, the energies of this are giving us that sense of a green light, wanting to now feel like we can make up for lost time. We can really start to, even though we are coexisting with very complex, almost opposing energies, and let's face it, Gemini, of all the signs, you are more able to cope and adapt with that because you can literally still function with the existence of these two polar opposites. It's what you do naturally anyway. But very important that you're constantly asking yourself what the highest perspective is in this moment for you, you know? So that you are not finding yourself kind of bumping up against wound energy or projection or, you know, things that are coming at you that feel like they are trying to hold you back or pull you back. There's something about what it's going to take to overcome a major situation in December requires major perseverance on your part, but it's about not giving up. It's about trusting in what your path is here for, because we have celebration coming in. Now that Four of Wands very linked into a location, to home, to family, to what's going on within their own internal emotional landscape. And remember, the full moon that's going to culminate at the end of the month is in the sign of Cancer, which lights up that second house of, you know, the way that your money story, the way that your sense of value is being mirrored back to you as well. So we're looking here, Queen of Wands. So right, we've got the King and the Queen of Wands and the Four of Wands balancing them out. So a lot of fire energy here. You are going to feel fired up, Gemini. You're going to feel that, you know, perhaps some of you from a place of slight frustration, for some of you from a place of like creativity being unleashed, but definitely from a perspective of just wanting to see the result or the manifestation of something because you can feel it, you know. And maybe you're still kind of dealing with some disruption from that eclipse energy, but I know that there's going to be some real jewels that are revealed to you as a result of that. Now, the most historic thing taking place, of course, this December, and really the culmination point of the entirety of 2020, is when Sun moves into Capricorn. We welcome the solstice energy on the 21st, and Jupiter will conjunct with Saturn, first time in Aquarius in over 600 years, and is now going to be working in air signs for over, you know, the next 200 years. Now, this is such a powerful time of change. Of course, things having to be stretched way, way, way beyond their comfort zone. You know, that ceiling having to be not only just broken, but absolutely obliterated. And so it will bring some extraordinary events, some weird and wonderful things may take place. Some of it may feel very difficult or challenging. Some of it may feel absolutely extraordinarily wonderful and afford you a completely different perspective. You are already changing so rapidly energetically. And what your reading is suggesting so far is that if you can harness and work with this energy, then you are going to allow yourself to begin the new chapter. Trying to hold on to anything that is, is ready to leave, is ready to depart, isn't going to serve you at this point. It may come back around in a different energy. It may come back around by looking like something completely different, and yet still meeting all of your expectations, still meeting everything that you are really desiring at this point. But your ability to manifest is powerful. Now, maybe you have some strong fire signs who are significant to you through this month of December, Gemini. But we do have this need for closure, this need for releasing something. Again, though, you can see she's still leaving a fire, that's burning here. So there's this sense of sometimes it requires us in life to kind of, something can still be okay. It can be delivering for you in some instance, but it's still not right. The fit still isn't there. Maybe a relationship is not bad, but it's not life-altering. Maybe a job is okay, but it doesn't really satisfy your soul. Maybe a project that you've been working on or a business that you're involved in, is going well and making money, but it's just not enough. And so what I'm seeing is that you're prepared to walk away from something that still is bringing value, but you understand at a deeper level that there's still more. There's more, because the illumination of the sun is really highlighting to you that there's a bigger picture now, and that you have to allow that growth to take place within yourself. Otherwise, you are going to start to feel suffocated and really kind of feeling like you're not drowning, but just being submerged in an energy that's not allowing that oxygen to breathe within you. So the emotional journey of the Cups, and I think for many of you, just really letting go of so many of the things that you've been through in 2020, perhaps the highs and lows, and with that some of the the disappointments or the setbacks or the tough things that have really taken it out of you, and when we look at this aspect of you just wanting to make up for this lost time, wanting to find this sense of commitment so that you can know where you're at and know where you're going. At the same time, Spirit come through with this Four of Swords, beautiful, peaceful energy wanting to come in and actually just tell you that it's also time to just take a breath, to find some time for rest, to make sure that you're balancing out all of this powerful creative energy, this drive, this ignition, this sense of wanting to get going, with sort of a temperance of just, you time of like stepping back and just allowing yourself to feel protected and safe within your own energy field. And that's going to make a difference as to how you navigate and deal with the changeability of some of the energies that are taking place through this month of December. So much of this is fated in terms of this North Node aspect in your sign, and so a lot of things out with your control, but certainly what is in your control is what you decide to allow in and how you decide to process it. And what it's saying here is that there is a need for you to take time in order to do that, because what we're doing here is really learning lessons. We're really coming to terms with so much of the coexistence of all these different types of emotions and experiences that we've been dealing with. And if you are to seek and look for the highest perspective in this moment, which has been a recurring theme through December's readings that Spirit really want us to focus upon, then you can't do that in the middle of the chaos and the frenzy. You have to step back. And what I'm looking at is you also want to step back from the competition. You want to step back from the arguments, from the fray, from the stress and the challenge, maybe even from the striving. Maybe there's something about what you've been striving for all year, and it's just like, there's no more you can do at this point. It's within reach. And actually, there's an indication here that the fire that he's searching for is already in the palm of your hand, so that there's no need to kind of keep pushing more and more and more. There's just like there's a quietness coming through with the Eight of Cups and the Four of Swords here that wants you to find that stillness in December. Now, that might sound a hell of a lot easier in theory than it's going to be in practice, and yet you can still seek that. And if you don't, then it's almost like you're setting yourself up to be constantly like this pawn in a game of like chaotic outside influence and energy, and that doesn't have to be your reality, you know. You have been waiting for too long for someone or something, and now it is time to release that and to really allow for what your true path is to emerge. And if you haven't seen the evidence of that, then December will start to indicate it for you. Now, that powerful conjunction also brings with it the energy of Juno and Pallas Athena, this beautiful divine feminine principle coming in to rebalance, helping you to find moderation with that yin yang energy, within you, and really make sure that, how you are planning, how you are looking to weigh up options in your life is coming from a place of strength and empowerment. It's coming from a place of divine love, from a place of you feeling like it's authentic, like it's truthful to you. And I think that there is something incredibly important about you giving yourself some time through this month of December to plan, to almost use some time management carefully, even though it's a season where traditionally, we would be very focused perhaps in and around family and around festivities, and restrictions that are abounding at the moment may force you to be looking at things slightly differently and perhaps putting your time and focus and energy in slightly different things. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's important because of the power of your manifesting and the power of your thought forms that you are really setting out that intention at the moment in terms of what it is that you want for yourself moving forward, okay? The intention, the protection of your energy as you do that, and the openness to the possibility with a strength and a courage of conviction is really going to make a strong difference this month. Now, where do we see things playing out in terms of, important areas of your life? Well, the energy is moving. The energy is moving fast, okay? You may well feel, like I said, when you are observing things, it doesn't look that way. But remember what we said, things are not always what they seem. As you take time to focus on you and give yourself a little bit of respite, all of this charge is directing something towards you, bringing it right to your door, Gemini, okay? There's not a huge amount that you have to do, because as you shift into a new gear at a higher frequency because of the ascension that's taking place, then you will start to see how things are going to open up for you. Now, from a relationship perspective, communication and energy starts to move. Remember this idea with 7th house Sagittarius, and as we move into Capricorn energy, which is more 8th house stuff for us, you are looking at those close connections, partnerships, how you're bonding, what choices and decisions you're making, even from a financial perspective moving forward, looking at whether you're in something for the long term or whether you're seeking this as a time to actually take a moment and move away. Certainly what I'm seeing though is the energy is supportive for bringing about the best possible outcome for your highest good. And that's the way that you need to look at it, okay? Your Queen of Wands here looks delighted. She looks like she's in an energy of having something to celebrate. It's mirrored by the Four of Wands. And perhaps when you see the evidence of that, then you will finally give yourself some permission to actually rest if you've been striving and pushing for something to come to fruition, okay? Just remember that overstimulation and getting caught up in a lot of this fire energy that's going on in your reading, I mean, we're almost all fire here, really. It's extraordinary. Can really lead to burnout. So you're going to have to be careful. But of course, the element of air from your sign is really igniting this. So you have the power and the potential to take something small and really blow it up, like make it into something incredible, see it moving very quickly. But at the same token, you could take something that's kind of insignificant and meaningless and make it mean far more than it is, because you're just in that kind of energy where everything is magnified. And that's probably the other thing that I feel, that everything in December is going to feel like a big deal, Gemini. It's like every decision, every conversation, every time something kind of lands for you in one or another area of your life, it's going to feel like a really powerful shift or a change is happening, okay? And the way in which you balance that out is why you're going to need the peace and the respite of that Four of Swords energy so strongly, There's a wistfulness that I pick up coming through. Gosh, more wands here. There's a wistfulness that's coming up. Maybe you're still in that sort of can it, will it, could it. And I want you to really believe in yourself in this moment. Back to what I said about this sense of soul satisfaction. It doesn't have to come at a cost. What is your biggest dream? What is your biggest ambition? This is the time to really lay that out, lay it on the line, and don't accept. This is not about compromise. It really isn't. And I think for many of you that might feel difficult, because you may feel if it's a no, if I draw a line and say it's not enough, it's not good enough, then am I going to lose out? This reading is giving too much fire, too much energy, too much spiritual connection as we link into the element of those wands to say that you are in any way going to be left high and dry. That's not what this is about. The energies are conspiring with this eclipse time to lead you forward. Now, it isn't always easy. I'm not trying to make light of it. I know many of you are going to be in, through this month, really difficult, tough spots where you're feeling like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But there is a moment that you can stop and really reflect and say, what is the highest perspective? Because that Three of Wands is showing me something way out into the future. This is the future thinking. This is building the bridge. This is so much of what we've talked about in your readings throughout the course of 2020, especially since the summer, as we started to feel into what this eclipse vibe was going to be about for you. And for many, it is a big focus in and around that relationship sector, or perhaps somebody coming in that's really going to make a difference as to the elevation and the progression and the expansion of your life. But it only comes when you have aligned into that sense of belief and value within yourself, knowing that you're worthy of it, knowing that not only are you in a place of self-acceptance now, but you're in a place of self-celebration. This matters. Now, toward the end of the month, we've got some really beautiful trines with Uranus and the Sun and Mercury, okay? Bringing in surprises, nice surprises, pleasant surprises, okay? And it's energy for you to lock in. So maybe you're hearing something that you've been longing to hear. Maybe there's the emergence of a breakthrough around something. Maybe it's a new connection that pops up in your life that has been unexpected, and it allows you to sort of tap into this making up for lost time, okay? Understand that, all of the forward motion of the planets moving direct, apart from Uranus, which will move direct in January, are saying it's time to capitalize, it's time to launch, it's time to go, it's time to initiate, it's time to put plans into place. So regardless of how you find yourself in any individual situation, it does not define you, it does not define anything about you, other than you have everything that you need to embrace a change that has been presented to you, however uncomfortable or difficult it may seem. And for many of you, some of those changes will feel really liberating. Of course, it depends on your individual soul path and what's showing up for you, but the amount of fire going on in this reading is suggesting to me that you are going to feel passionate and you are going to feel fired up and motivated and ready to take something on through this month of December, whilst also accepting that in order to do that, you have to release and let something go, okay? But there's no heartache here, however you process it, even if that can feel sad and difficult and conflicting, it's still very healing in a way. So I want you to remember that. So let's take a look at your oracle card, Gemini, see what is coming through for you. Okay, so we have assistance with access. It is necessary to ask for and accept help in order to receive it. Okay, so where are we trying to go alone? Where are we not communicating what our needs are? Where are we trying to martyr ourselves because we somehow feel that nobody understands us or nobody quite gets it, There's something about you being able to open up and connect and resonate and bond more deeply with people. And, this is what really your Sagittarius 7th house energy is mirroring back to you, perhaps in those important relationships where you're kind of closing yourself off, perhaps through a place of protection, But I also feel like maybe you're trying to connect or network, or you're trying to open up an opportunity professionally. Someone can help you. There is a key here. that she's holding. But I feel like when we talk about relationships of significance, what you may well find is that somebody steps forth or becomes known to you through this month, Gemini, that can really help you. So maybe if you have found changes in your work and you're trying to, you know, explore different paths, perhaps in your own business, if you're trying to, you know, just see how you can start to connect or network in a different kind of social circle. You know, all of these things are opening up as we come into, you know, Jupiter moving into Aquarius and that expansive 9th house. Okay, now she looks kind of down and a little bit forlorn here. So again, don't be feeling like if something feels beyond your reach, that the universe can't step in immeasurable ways to actually bring a solution. And this is a real month where you need to be focusing on the possibilities and the solutions, not the problems. Now, this came up strongly in your November reading, and it's playing out continuously all the way through to the end of the year. So pay attention to where you're perhaps finding yourself moving into any kind of defeatist, or I have to give up, I have to let it go, I have to walk away, rather than to fight for it. And maybe this is also playing out in some instance with regards to that. Perhaps you just need time to stop, reflect, conserve your energy, and, you know, then move forward and find a way, which is absolutely what's being indicated in terms of what's going on at the root of your reading here as well. Okay, so like I said, things are not always what they seem. Let's see here, this oracle card. Bravery, oceans, beautiful. You will cross oceans this month, Gemini. You will feel like you are moving between worlds. You will feel at times that you are balancing precariously in some kind of situation, unsure and uncertain as to where the dry land beneath your feet is going to arrive, and yet it will. It will, because actually what you're shown here through this bravery, through this vulnerability and this decision to just say, I'm going forth anyway, and I'm going to do it in the middle of a storm because I just feel the inextricable pull to do this, or to be this, or to try to understand this about myself, or to make this change in my life. That will be rewarded. You know, your feet are upon the earth. This need to ground and secure yourself with earth is important, and in fact it's the only earth energy that we actually have coming up in your December reading. So let's see what the comprehensive brings. But very, very important that you find time to do that, because that is what's going to fuel the bravery and the resiliency that you need. Okay, but remember, oceans are deep. Oceans are powerful, and it can just take one wave, and that one wave can carry us further than we ever anticipated. It can also kind of catch us up and make us feel like we're drowning and submerging into something. That's not what I'm seeing for you. I'm seeing an elevation. You know, there's an elevation energy that's coming through in this reading. So be brave and, you know, use that stepping stone, if you like. That's what it feels like. It's like a stepping stone energy. Okay, Gemini, so this is a general reading for December. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, what we're going to do is we're going to pull a couple of cards that will be specifically in relation to a question that may not have come up in this main spread, and we'll look at that in more detail. So just put your focus on that for me just now. We'll pull a couple of cards. Okay. Now, let's just clarify this main spread. So just beginning with this King of Wands energy, may well be a fire sign, Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, or certainly someone that's very dominant and has an important part to play. But also remember, this is also your essence coming through. Now, Two of Cups. So this is, I feel, connected into relationships very strongly for you. Queen of Swords, your energy coming through. Perhaps also an Aquarian or Libra. Certainly a little bit of protective emotional energy going on. She's kind of not really, she's holding her cards close to her chest a little bit, I feel, you know. Three of Pentacles, but good solid open communication to come. Also rich creativity. Now, interesting, Wheel of Fortune, unexpected events. Of course we expect it with this conjunct, with this eclipse season. Perhaps changes in and around house and home, or places of work coming up unexpectedly. Another King of Wands coming through here. Is this the same person? I feel it might be someone different, but we'll take a look at that in the extended. Hanging Man. Of course, Neptune moving direct at the end of November as well, really lighting up your imagination, your creative artistic expression, and Neptune linking into Pisces, which of course is your 10th house of career and vocation. Knight of Wands shown here, and your energy of the Lovers. There's just so much fire in this December reading. Oops, 10 of Wands. Okay, you're at the point where something has to give. You got to let something go here, Gemini. You got to let it go so you can let this beautiful energy of the Ace come in. Get out of your own way. If it is this commitment that you're seeking in whatever relation it is, commitment to a contract, commitment from a lover, commitment to, you know that something is secure and is yours. Ace of Swords, you know, using your voice, saying what your needs are, expressing your empowered energy. Beautiful, Empress. Four of Swords and the Fool. You know, the Fool brings that burst of like really vigorous energy, but it can like feel like that burnout. So I think you're just going to be teetering on the edge of that. It may even be that some of these big brave decisions are just taking it a lot out of you. So you've got to pay attention to this. Three of Wands coming up again for you. So maybe some overseas links going on here. Eight of Swords. Five of Pentacles. This is a little bit of this disruption energy that's going to be taking place. It's going to trigger you. You're going to be extra sensitive. So important. Okay, another five. Not without its challenges this month, Gemini. Temperance. Beautiful. It's kind of interesting. There's like endings, closure, and then a returning energy that's coming in and around Earth sign here, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. Beautiful. A lot more Earth energy coming in for the extended, which is good to see. Okay, and finally, Gemini, I'm also just doing a preview card for 2021, which again we'll look at in the extended reading, just to give you a bit of a glimpse and a heads up of what kind of energy we're seeing for you over the next 12 months. And you can find a bit more information about my guide and the gift series over on my website, romyweiser.com. Now you will find a link for the extended version of this reading in the description and the comment section underneath. So if you'd like to join me, I'm going to go ahead and pull out some more information and messages in relation to these additional cards and energies that we've pulled. But otherwise, I just wish you a beautiful month of December. Make sure you give yourself plenty of rest to kind of temper, you know, all of this really wild, stimulated, passionate fire energy. But there's a lot of really wonderful things that I can see forming and coming together for you. So please take that and be hopeful and optimistic about how your path is going to unfold in spite of any kind of chaos and frenzy that ensues around all of us through this very interesting time. So I appreciate your support through the entirety of 2020, and I look forward to connecting with you again for next year's readings.